What's going on, Tricology family, and welcome back to another episode of the Tricology News Star. As we are in the month of June, school's almost out for the kids. Their summer is about to begin, but ours is just getting started. As the last month, we got a banger stuff coming out of May, and now we're gonna see what's coming out of June. But let's get into our mainstream news for today, and then we also got a movie review for you guys on the rest of the episode for today. So, to start off, Mission Impossible 7 clocks in as the longest of the franchise. So, here's what we'll report has to say. Just days after director Christopher McQuarrie shared on social media that he's locked in the picture lock on Mission Impossible Day of Reckoning Part 1. IGN has revealed that the movie will be 2 hours and 32 minutes. That's not including the credits. That's 9 minutes longer than its previous predecessor, the 2018's Mission Impossible Fallout. So, not bad. Yeah, I got no problem with it. So, and just to let you guys know, if it does end on the cliffhanger, I will let you guys know. I'm pretty sure it would, because it says part 1. So, I'm pretty sure it might end on the cliffhanger. And I do apologize if I sound a little hoarse. I'm just coming off from a sore throat, but we're gonna get through it, y'all. But moving on. Fast X drops over 65% in its second weekend. So, it opened up to 67 million and then dropped down to like 23 million. So, it's kind of the same like Fast 9. So, it's kind of the same. So, it is what it is, but I know I think that's probably the domestic box office, but I think the international box office could be very different. But continue on with Fast X. How much does it need to break even? So the production cost was 340 million. The marketing was 150 million, and to total it up is roughly expense is estimated to 500 million. So they would need 750 million in order to break even between the box office. I think it can be, but we'll see. And going from Fast X to The Little Mermaid, it cracked up to its now in the top 5 Memorial Day openings. So currently, The Little Mermaid is at number 5. X-Men: The Last Stand is at number 4. Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is at number 3. Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End is at number 2, and Top Gun: Maverick is in the number 1 spot. So, moving on. Why Movie Pass might actually work this time? So let's break down the tiers here. So if you get the basics, which is $10 a month, you get 1 to 3 movies, 34 credits, 4,000 theaters, and 2D standard screening. For the standard, which is $20 a month, you get 3 to 7 movies, 72 credits, 4,000 theaters, and 2D standard screenings. For the premium, which is $30, and you get up to 5 to 11 movies, 113 credits, and then pretty much the same for theaters and standard screenings. And then for the Pro, which is $40 a month, and then you get 30 movies. Well, that's clearly a month, and then it's 640 credits. So, a lot of people saying that the standard is the best seller there. So, let's see if Movie Pass can work this time. Moving on, Robert Downey Jr. was going to play Doctor Doom. Let's see what the conversation between Kevin Feige and John Foyer had to say about it. I remember when where you had met. I remember you had all met with him, Robert Downey Jr., already for Doctor Doom or something on another project. I think he had come through on maybe Fantastic Four, and the director stated, "Hmm, I wonder what it had been if Robert Downey Jr. was as Doctor Doom, but we all know he's better suited as Iron Man." Moving on, Pixar's Element has been titled as the worst reviewed in studios history. So let's look at the past five Pixar movies so far. Starting with Onward, has ended with 88%. Soul ended with 95%, and probably the highest. Luca has 91, which is pretty good. Turning Red, same number as Soul's 95, and then Lightyear was at 74. That's the lowest. But my favorite Pixar movies from the last from these five from the last five was Soul, Luca, and Turning Red. So, but let's look at the early reviews for Elmo. First, we got from Isaac Spielberg from RobertEbert.com, and he says, replete with computer-generated inhabits and generate most of the struggles. Its music feels like a concept art to be filled in details at some point in the animated process, then to fill throughout in a linear environment. Next one coming from James Monterey from South China Morning Post. It says, it's true, after all that loving world building, the film flats in the middle section, but there are moments that are true beauty element that will appeal to incur romantic everywhere. Next up, we have from Joanne Torres from London Evening Standard saying, for all the elementals' many charms, this nonsensical film simply does not cut the mustard. Mm. All right. This one's from Ed Palmerton from Times UK. Says, a flawed but big heart tale of a forbidden love. Next one from Robbie Collin from the Daily Telegraph UK says, while unlucky to feature on many people's favorite Pixar list, Elemental brings in the satisfactory creek on the ship being right. Next up from Jordan Message from the Hollywood Reporter says, the elements all fit perfectly into place. So many that have the creative flames that do's, and we are left without much in preparation. Mm. And then last one from Peter Dubas from Variety says, I reckon there are more ideas per second of screen time in Elemental than any other Pixar movie to date. So why does this animation tease opposite attracts romantic com feel like a misfire? Yeah, so that's the early reviews for Elemental. So let's see if they can get that get that critic score for Rotten Tomatoes to go up. But we'll see. Moving on, Daredevil star confirms no plans to return. So Daredevil Born Again will not see Karen Page. And this is a report says, this was so cool to be a part of Daredevil, and I think it was such a unique little corner of the MCU that felt really special. I am really happy with I have, and there is no plans for me so far on either side of the comic book universe. I am so grateful for the experience that I had. Man, that's gonna suck. Moving on. How did John Wick bump the Super Mario Bros. Movie out of the number one digital spot? Let's read this article. The Super Mario Bros. Movie from Universal has grossed triple of what John Wick Chapter 4 from Lionsgate had in theaters. But for home viewers, the latest Keanu Reeves acted sequel booted the Nintendo game animated film out of all the number one the video demand rankings after only 1 week. Impressively, there was not only on iTunes and Google Play, which rate by a number of transitions, but also via VOD, which tallies the revenue, which cost the standard $19.99 to view, while Super Mario Bros. Is $24.99 and $29.99 to own. That suggests that the site is leased to clear a lead for a week. Meantime, Super Mario Bros. Is an unanimous number 2, so that's not bad. So, moving on. How to Train Your Dragon live action remake finds its hiccup in Oscars. The Black Phone star Matthew Tynes and The Last of Us actress Nika Parker will star in the Dean Bellow's live action theatrical debut of the How to Train Your Dragon live action movie. So that's going to be very interesting. Moving on, live action Spider-Man Miles Morales movie is coming. Producer Amy Pascal said that a Spider-Woman and a live action Miles Morales movie are in the works. You can see it all. She tells me Tuesday that a Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse premiered in Los Angeles is all happening, and I cannot wait for that. Dwayne Johnson returning as Hobbs in the Fast and Furious spinoff. So, Johnson will star in an untitled Fast project. Universal and Johnson announced on Thursday. Fast mainstay Chris Morgan penned the script. The return of a major reverse of the star, who insisted repeatedly that he was done with the action franchise after clashing with Fast Light handler Van Diesel. The new project also remarks the return for Chris Morgan, who sat out of Fast 9 and Fast X, but is spending since of the main franchise and movie, as well as the 2019 spin-off Fast and the Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw, which stars Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham. So, I am glad that The Rock is back as Hobbs in the Fast and Furious franchise because ever since he showed up in Fast 5, he's been literally the best thing about the Fast and Furious franchise. So I'm glad that he's back. Moving on. Spider-Man 4 meetings with Tom Holland have started. And this report says, I cannot talk about it. What I can say, we have been having meetings. We've been pushing the meeting on pause in sorority with the writers, Holland said. There have been multiple conversations had, but at this point, it's been very, very early stages. So we all know that Spider-Man 4 is coming, but what's keeping it from happening is the writer's strike. So at least y'all know what's the holdup. Moving on. Van Diesel is now upset with Jason Momoa stealing the scenes as a report. So let's read this report here. Among Diesel's reports, gripping with Momoa's performances was a penchant for overacting and scene stealing while playing Dante, the amorous, menacing villain, upside Diesel's the dominant Terrell in Fast 10. Jealousy is apparently the feud Diesel's beef with Momoa, and according to insiders, Moore is well aware of Diesel sharing the gristle with others. Jason knows that he's the flavor of the moment, and Vin Diesel is jealous of him, a source has said. But he doesn't appreciate Diesel trying to poison the public against him. That has a potential being Hollywood's next biggest feud. Currently, Fast 10 boasts a 54% average critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, with the consensus branding it of an individually silly, while other reviews have called out the latest sequel to being conspicuous and full of itself. Hey, you got one feud that is done between Vin Diesel and The Rock, and now you got another feud with Vin Diesel and Jason Momoa. If you ask me, it sounds pretty good because you got to think about it. Jason Momoa is probably going to be the big bad for the next two movies, unless they plan, because they say they want to get Robert Downey Jr. As the final boss. So we'll see how that goes. And lastly, Across the Spider Verse opened 5 times than the first movie. So let's look at these. Let's break down these numbers here. So the first movie opening night was at 3.5 million, and then its opening weekend was at 35 million. Now the second film's opener was 17.38 million, and now it's projected for its opening weekend is between 80 through 90 million. So that sounds pretty good there. And speaking of across the Spider Verse, that's gonna be our movie review today, as we're gonna be talking about the Spider Man Across the Spider Verse. And let me tell y'all something. This was my most anticipated movie of 2023, and it did not disappoint at all. Man, let me tell y'all something. Everything was great. The animation, the freaking story, everything was great, from top to bottom. Even one of the I read one of the early reviews, and they say they compared Across the Spider Verse as The Dark Knight and Empire Strikes Back, and I was like, okay, I see where they going here, because when I watched the movie, because I feel like I saw that some parts kind of resembles to The Dark Knight and Empire Strikes Back. I see what they was going for here, but I will say that even though this was supposed to be a Miles Morales story, I felt like this was a Miles and Gwen Stacy's story, because they did show a little backstory of Gwen Stacy, of like how her life was before and after she met Miles Morales. So they kind of had that little glimpse of there, because they want to focus more on the relationship between Gwen and Miles. So I kind of like how they went from there, and I kind of like how they showed all the Spider-Mans in the Spider Society, and it kind of like it shows them like, oh, like they've been through all this stuff, like they lost their Uncle Ben's, and now they had to join the Spider Society, and now Miles is kind of learning what the Spider Society is about, and he, because of that, kind of like doesn't agree with everything that's happening. Like he don't want the he doesn't believe that all the terrible things that happen, they're good, because like I said before, all the Spider-Man has dealt with adversity. Like they lost their Uncle Ben's, and and Miles is trying to be the one to say like, oh, I can do both, but like they trying to let him understand like you can't do both. Like you gotta let fate happen. So yeah, and a lot of times I couldn't really tell like who is the actual villain in this movie. Is Spider-Man 2099 is the villain, or that weird character in the movie, the Spot. But I think the Spot might be the top villain for the next movie, Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. That's what I think. But if you watch the movie, you'll see where they're going from there. And in the first movie, when it comes to Miles' parents, in the first movie, Miles need that pep talk from his father. So like in the second movie, Miles need that pep talk from his mother, Rio. So yeah, in the movie. And the other Spider-Mans that I really like was Spider-Man India. Yeah, he was great, and also the Spider-Punk. Those were my other two favorite Spider-Mans. That they was great, and but yeah, other than that, man, this movie does end with a cliffhanger. And if y'all remember, they was originally gonna name this Across the Spider Verse Part One, and then name the third movie Across the Spider Verse Part Two. But they changed the name and named the second one just Across the Spider Verse. and then the third one, Beyond the Spider-Verse. So just remember, this movie does going to end on a cliffhanger, but you will be surprised how it ends. So I'll let you guys know there. And there's no post credit. There's no post credit scene either. So you ain't got to worry about staying after the credits. So you guys ain't got to worry about that. So I'm pretty sure they probably gonna put some post credit scenes in the third movie, but we'll see how it goes. And most of the time, this movie is about the multiverse. They show a lot of clips from the past of Spider-Man movies and their universes. So I like how they went there. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, other than that, man, this movie absolutely delivered. Even though some of y'all might say, "Oh, it didn't have a clear ending. It didn't have a clear ending." I understand, but you gotta remember, this is part one. So we gotta wait. Well, not too long because I think part two is coming out in March of 2024. So it's not very far away. So we just gotta wait for part two. But other than the cliffhanger ending, this movie was great. This was my number one anticipated movie of 2023, and yeah. So one of the best movies of 2023 I've seen so far as well. It's definitely in my top 10 so far. And so yeah, I'm gonna give this movie a B plus. So yeah, definitely give this movie a B plus. And but other than that, man, that's all I have for you guys today. And if you're watching me on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and let me know what your thoughts and opinion I discussed today. And don't forget to share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell when new episodes are uploaded. And of course, if you listen to me on Spotify, Google Podcasts, or Apple Podcasts, or any other podcast streaming platform, don't forget to follow me there as well. But other than that, man, this is Trico, and I'm signing off. Peace.